Tonight, an elderly murder suspect's words to police following her husband's death. New evidence heard in court at the Elfgard Oughtred trial in Brantford. Another incident involving bear spray.
Using bear spray as a weapon is absolutely illegal.
The call in Kitchener over the weekend that has the substance under more scrutiny. Plus, changes and chances.
I think OLG are probably hoping that they'll get more sales out of this new format.
A Waterloo expert helps us size up the odds of the Lotto Max shift. Good evening. We begin with more evidence shared in a Brantford courtroom today at the murder trial of an elderly woman accused of killing her husband. Recordings of statements made by Elfgard Oughtred to police following Gordon Oughtred's death were played for the jury. CTV's Krista Simpson joining us now live with the latest details from this trial. Krista.
Tony, Elfgard Oughtred was arrested nearly 2 years after Gordon's death. Today, the jury saw 2 statements she made to police voluntarily prior to her arrest. One was given the day Gordon died, the other a year and a half later when she was considered the suspect in his murder. The videos were played in court, but they are lengthy files and copies haven't yet been given to media, so tonight we will have to describe what they contain. On the evening of November 24th, 2022, hours after her husband was found fatally injured in their Brant County home, Elfgard Oughtred gave a statement to Detective Constable Dan Twynham. She described going shopping that morning, returning home around noon, and finding her 82-year-old husband on the floor. She went to a neighbor for help. The officer asked if she noticed if anything in the house was out of place. "I didn't pay any attention, but to me it looked fine," Elfgard said, adding her only concern was her husband, then appearing to break down in tears. During the statement, she couldn't remember details like Gordon's exact birth date or her stepdaughter's last name, telling the detective constable at one point, "I should know after 30 years, but tonight I don't know." The officer asks if Elfgard knows anyone Gordon has problems with. She replies, "He keeps a lot to himself normally. He doesn't talk a whole lot." The officer asks if there's any reason she could think of for anyone to want to hurt him. "That part I don't know. I really don't know. Honest to God, I don't." During cross-examination, Elfgard's lawyer noted the detective constable did not ask about any medical conditions Gordon may have had. The jury next saw another voluntary statement Oughtred made in May 2024, this time to another detective constable, Peter Brujic. The officer asks how things have been since Gordon's passing. "It's been hard. I cry every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day," Elfgard says. The detective constable tells her dozens of officers are investigating his death and asks, "What do you think's happened to him?" "I don't know," Elfgard says. The officer goes on to ask what he says is the most important question he has to ask Elfgard. "Did you kill Gordon?" "No," Elfgard replies. The officer goes on to say that they are looking for answers to some things that just don't make sense, pointing out Elfgard did not mention in her first statement that she went to the casino the morning of Gordon's death. Elfgard says she forgot, and then says she didn't tell police because it wasn't important. "Everything's important in a homicide investigation," the detective constable replies. He later asks about the couple's relationship. "I had a wonderful relationship with him," Elfgard says, going on to describe Gordon as kind. The officer goes on to say that after dozens of interviews in the case, there's a sense that Gordon wasn't a nice person all of the time, and he drank too much. "I couldn't stop him," Elfgard replies, saying some days he was bad and some days he was good. Alcohol does a lot of things. But Elfgard says Gordon never threatened or hurt her, though he did not like her gambling habit. The detective constable asks if she's willing to take a lie detector test. And when she agrees, he asks what it will show. Elfgard says, "It's the truth. I did not kill him." Testimony is scheduled to continue tomorrow, and today the judge told jurors they are hoping the trial will be completed this week. Tony.
All right, Krista, thank you. CTV's Krista Simpson with the latest from that trial. The embattled former mayor of Woodstock was back in court today, this time pleading guilty to sexual assault. CTV's Nick Paparella has more on the ongoing legal issues facing Trevor Birch.
Following a mistrial in the summer of 2024, Trevor Birch, the one-time mayor of Woodstock, was set to go on trial on those charges again this week. But instead, he showed up with his lawyer at the London courthouse and pled guilty to sexual assault and assault. This case stems from an incident at a South London hotel on Valentine's Day in February of 2021 involving a woman he had an intimate relationship with. In an agreed statement of facts, Crown Attorney Artem Orloff told the court that when the woman refused to engage in sexual activity with him, Mr. Birch kicked her off the bed. He then pulled the victim out of the bed and onto the ground by her hair, and she slept on the floor. In this case, Birch is expected to be sentenced on June 16th. However, over the past 5 years, Birch has been in and out of court facing a number of different charges. On May 18th, he's expected back in court to be sentenced in another sexual assault case involving a different woman, after being found guilty on 2 counts. The Crown in that case is asking for a prison sentence. And also last year, in a Woodstock courtroom, Birch pled guilty to impaired driving following a crash in Oxford County in 2023. The women involved in the sexual assault cases cannot be identified, and for now, Birch remains out of custody. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
A stretch of a road in Waterloo was closed for several hours today after flooding in a low-lying area. Waterloo Regional Police closed a portion of Cressler Road between Benjamin and Erbsville Roads. Earlier this morning, water was pooling onto the road and spilling onto nearby properties. Drivers were asked to avoid the area and find alternate routes while crews were monitoring the conditions. Cressler Road was reopened earlier this afternoon. And Ashley's here now with our first look at the forecast. And, not really a surprising time of year to see that with all of the melt that we've had and now a lot more rain that could speed that up even more.
You know that, Tony, and we are in for quite a wet week ahead. Right now, it's quite beautiful outside. We had a little rain come through this morning. Temperatures skyrocketing to the low 20s. And the good news is those temperatures are expected to last through the week. However, with it, lots of rain. Environment Canada issuing a special weather statement this afternoon for heavy rainfall. It looks like it'll start overnight and then into tomorrow morning. Between 10 and 20 millimeters of rain is expected. Now, some areas that might have concentrated thunderstorms could see a little bit more. And of course, as Tony just mentioned, we've had so much rain, and of course with snow melting, the ground is saturated. So we could see some flooding conditions. So as we take a look at our radar, you can see there's still some patchy showers still forming around our area, but all things considered, not too bad. As we look at what's happening right now, still 20 degrees, Tony. So it is warm out there. A westerly wind at 19 kilometers an hour. So very warm conditions indeed. And if we take a look, I just want to point out Windsor, 26 degrees right now, Tony. So almost summer-like, a little bit south of us, and continuing to be very nice here for the next few days, Tony.
Ooh, haven't seen numbers like that in a long time. Okay, Ash, thank you. We'll talk to you shortly for the rest of the weather details. Waterloo Regional Police sounding the alarm today about the growing misuse of bear spray. They are looking for someone who used the substance during an altercation over the weekend. CTV's Karis Mapp joining us now live with more on this story. And Karis, we should note that unlike pepper spray, bear spray is legal.
That's right, Tony. Bear spray isn't illegal and can actually be purchased at many outdoor and camping stores, but it's meant to be used on wildlife only. People found carrying the animal deterrent in urban settings could face charges. Waterloo Regional Police are investigating after bear spray was used during an altercation between 2 groups in Kitchener on Saturday. It happened in the Chandler Drive area. Although no one was hurt, this is one of 9 instances Waterloo Police have responded to for misuse of bear spray this year. Guelph Police are also dealing with similar calls. At the end of March, a 12-year-old was arrested and charged for using bear spray during 2 separate robberies.
This substance found its way into the hands of someone who shouldn't have been possessing it and clearly didn't possess it for any legal purpose.
In Ontario, you need to be at least 18 years old to purchase bear spray, and buyers must confirm it will only be used as an animal deterrent.
It is sold as a personal safety item for use, in hiking and camping and so on. It is intended to be used against larger wildlife, such as bears.
This all comes as the provincial government pushes for pepper spray to be legalized for self-defense purposes.
If you're under attack, your life is in jeopardy, then use every tool you can. And there's nothing wrong with, especially women, walking at night with pepper spray.
Seeing trends of people already improperly using bear spray, pepper spray could come with more severe consequences.
Pepper spray is much more potent than bear spray is. I think it can be up to 5 times as irritating by the concentration of the chemicals in it.
Former OPP Commissioner Chris Lewis says getting pepper spray into the hands of more people doesn't automatically improve safety.
I don't support the legalization of pepper spray. What would happen, in my view, is that people that really intend on carrying it for self-protection still have to be trained. They still can spray themselves. It still can get in the hands of the wrong people.
Adding that even in self-defense, the substance could be lethal.
It causes a sensation that you can't breathe. If you sprayed somebody who had some sort of respiratory issue, or someone that's elderly and not of good health, you could potentially kill them.
Although Ford's government is behind the push, the federal government has the final say. I reached out to the province for an interview about the logistics surrounding the legalization of pepper spray. Instead, they shared the letter the Attorney General sent to Federal Minister Sean Fraser calling on his government to strengthen public safety. Tony.
Karis Mapp live with us tonight. Karis, thank you. Police remain on the hunt for the main suspect in a shooting at a campus bar at Lambton College in Sarnia. And today they had a warning.
To Mr. Doe directly, I say that every time you go to sleep, know that there is a real possibility of being awakened to the light of a tactical team. You will be arrested.
The suspect's wanted on charges of second-degree murder, attempted murder, and possession of a firearm while prohibited. Sarnia police say they found a gun over the weekend believed to have been used in the murder. A 20-year-old man was shot dead during a student-run event at Lambton College on Friday. 2 others were hurt. The province has unveiled its long-awaited changes to Ontario's education system. Trustees will still have a role, though there will be fewer of them in some cities. And the government aims to put someone with a business background in charge of Ontario's school boards. CTV's Siobhan Morris has details for us.
What are you painting today?
After spending the last year threatening to eliminate elected school board trustees, the Minister of Education instead introduced a bill he says
vastly reducing their ability to disrupt the system, vastly reducing their ability to cause division within the system.
With more scrutiny on expenses, capping pay, and changing responsibilities. Paul Calandra stopped short of axing trustees for consistency and to stay out of court.
No interest in opening up a constitutional fight or a charter fight.
With protections built in for Catholic and French boards, the only board losing trustees is the country's biggest. The Toronto District School Board will drop from 22 trustees to 12. Now, keep in mind, trustees are sidelined while the board's under supervision, setting up some complicated election scenarios.
If nobody wants to run because the board is under supervision, then that's fine. The ministry has the statutory powers to fill those vacancies, and we'll do it when we think it's necessary to do so.
The opposition leader calls this an attempt by Calandra to make himself
the emperor of education, give himself the ability to appoint, frankly, whoever he chooses, to whatever role he chooses. And that means the appointment, I believe, of more failed Conservative candidates.
The bill splits and renames the role of Director of Education. They'll become the board's CEO, someone with a background in business.
Takes the responsibility for budgeting, the responsibility for management of a board, and puts it in the hands of a CEO.
An educator will take on the part of the job focused on teaching. Calandra says in some cases that work will still be done by one person.
It is not going to solve the crisis. It's only going to make it worse.
What's happening here is bad. It's wrong. They're not focused on the right things.
Education union leaders agree the minister isn't addressing teachers' core concerns.
Class size, class complexity, and safety, but that never comes up. All these other issues are real. They matter, but they are not the priority. They're primarily the result of the issues the minister is ignoring.
They see Bill 101 as a piece of legislation
that is leading to the corporate corporatization of our publicly funded education system.
An approach they say just won't work.
Siobhan Morris with that report for us. It's a big day for Mark Carney as Canadians go to the polls in 3 federal by-elections, 2 in Toronto and 1 in Quebec. At the end of the day, the federal Liberals need to win just one of those races to get a majority government with at least 172 seats. CTV's Mike Couture now with what voters are saying about this pending majority for the federal Liberals.
For some people voting in today's by-elections, federal politics is about the person they want to send to Ottawa.
She knows what the Scarborough Southwest needs. It's not like somebody that's coming in from another area. So it's very important that we have somebody representing our needs.
That candidate is the former deputy leader of the Ontario NDP, who's now running for the Liberals.
The Liberal Party of Canada is a big tent where I see myself voicing my concerns of the people of Scarborough Southwest.
Now, the new leader of the federal NDP is questioning the size of that big tent, given the Liberals welcomed 5 opposition MPs in as many months, including the latest, who held social conservative views.
I think the Liberal tent is stretched so far now that the fabric must be, I don't know, is it spandex? It is something very stretchy when you can encompass Marilyn Gladue in a caucus with progressives in the Liberal Party.
Now, for some voters, the issues are more important than the politics around them.
Affordability, social issues, things that include everybody, cost of living.
Key issues for all parties, but on Parliament Hill, the Conservatives were criticizing how the Liberals set themselves up to secure a majority.
The government seems committed to their strategy of backroom deals.
Now, 2 of the 3 by-elections are taking place in ridings that have historically been Liberal strongholds, meaning Prime Minister Carney is likely to get a majority less than a year after voters handed him a minority mandate. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
And we've got the CTV News newsletter to start your day in the know. You can get local content from our newsroom right to your inbox every day, including a look at the top stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos on there for you as well. You can sign up over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. A driver pulled from a sinking vehicle in Lake Huron. Just ahead, the people who are being called heroes for rushing in to help someone in Bayfield.
Don't let the break in rain stop you from bringing your umbrellas tomorrow. We're in for another very rainy, very wet Tuesday. So those details, along with how long we can expect this washout to last, coming up with your full weather forecast. Stay with us.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Two Huron County contractors are being hailed as heroes tonight after racing to the Bayfield Marina and pulling an elderly driver from his rapidly sinking vehicle. CTV's Scott Miller has more in this exclusive report.
Last Monday, Nick Scheffelberger and Zachary Zell had just started work building a deck at a nearby house when they heard someone yell for help from Bayfield's Marina. They rushed to the scene to find an SUV in the water, rapidly sinking, with the elderly driver still in the driver's seat.
See this guy, a car floating here, ripped through the fence here. It was nuts, and we obviously just had to react.
Water was up to the driver's knees by the time Schaffelberger and Zell arrived, they say. The driver's foot was stuck under the gas pedal, which is what ended up sending his SUV careening through a fence in reverse, landing on a wooden dock before coming to rest in the water on the north side of Bayfield's Marina last Monday around 8 in the morning.
He couldn't figure out how to open the sunroof, so I crawled him through the passenger window and got his foot freed. And once I got in there, the water started coming in over the doors, and you know, I just said, buddy, it's time to go, man.
Nick jumped in the window. We got on top. It was really slippery. We pulled him out of the sunroof. And There's another gentleman here, luckily, who was kind of trying to help us as well. And I'm just kind of hanging, trying to make sure we were starting to float away, so I had to hold on to the dock as well as try and help Nick pull him out. And then Nick just muscled him out. We got him on the dock, and then the ambulance and the police showed up.
As soon as we pulled him out, the car was gone in seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds. It was gone underwater. So just glad it all worked out. It was a pretty easy recovery, so I'm grateful for that.
Now, the driver miraculously didn't have any injuries, maybe a little bit of hypothermia and maybe a little embarrassed. Nick said he did talk to him, and while the driver didn't want to appear on camera, did say that he was very thankful that the 2 rescuers were there that day.
It was gushing in pretty good. Like when I was in the car, I looked out the back window and you could see like the whole back window was underwater.
The SUV was craned out of the water last Wednesday. The fence still has an SUV-sized hole in it, but all told, Monday's rescue could have ended up being a tragic recovery mission if not for Schaffelberger and Zell.
We were here at the right time and be able to help out because I knew I didn't want to watch him just sink away and drown or deal with that. So, you know, we were going in no matter what.
In Bayfield, Scott Miller, CTV News.
New research published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal today confirms cancer is still the leading cause of death in Canada, and 250,000 new Canadians will be detected this year. 250,000 new cases, I should say, will be detected this year. But the study also highlights a path of hope that these rates are declining across the country. With more, let's go to CTV's Alison Bamford.
Thousands of patients step foot inside the Saskatoon Cancer Centre every year, including those who are seeking treatment for the very first time. A new study estimates there will be more than 250,000 new cancer diagnoses and nearly 90,000 cancer-related deaths in Canada this year, while a staggering 42% of Canadians are expected to be diagnosed with the disease at some point in their life. Still, there's hope in the numbers. Incidence and mortality rates are declining in most cancers, including leukemia, colorectal, bladder, and lung cancer, although it still remains the most prevalent type.
We're seeing, the advancements in prevention, early detection, and treatments really having an impact for people across Canada.
This month, Saskatchewan made the move to help reduce the wait times for breast cancer screenings, adding to its fleet of mobile mammogram units that serve remote communities. Despite the progress in many areas, the study shows rates of some cancers are rising, including cervical, head, and neck, linked to HPV. Experts say improving vaccination rates could help stop these types of cancers before they start. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Okay, a live look outside now. I don't know where this is, but it is sunny outside right now. We are getting a beautiful ending to a day that has been quite warm, feeling a lot more like summer out there, isn't it? And we'll have Ashley stepping in just a couple of moments to give us a look at the forecast. Also ahead, a locally made supper time staple. We're putting some pizza power into this week's edition of Made Right Here. And next, Iran's response to new U.S. military action in the Strait of Hormuz. The latest developments in the war coming up. Oh, we love talking about the weather on a day like today. We've been talking about it all through the commercial break, and it's funny because I stepped outside today and I didn't go anywhere this winter. And I forgot what 20 degrees felt like.
I know, Tony. It was beautiful first thing this morning, even though it was raining quite heavy when I first took my dog out at around 6:10 this morning. It was so warm, I needed to turn around and take a layer of clothes off because my winter jacket was too heavy despite the rain.
Well, and Sunday was so cold and rainy that it was just, I mean, it was a welcome surprise, but we're done with the cold. We're not done with the rain yet.
No, and I won't say we are done with the cold quite yet, because we are well and truly above seasonal temperatures right now. And I'll talk a little bit about what we should be seeing in our forecast, but let's take a look outside. It's looking and feeling more summer-like. We're at McLennan Park this afternoon. It's a beautiful spot to be. I might have to take the dog out a think when I get home before the next round of rain makes an appearance. So get out while you can and enjoy it, because tomorrow and Wednesday are looking like they will be quite wet indeed. As we take a look at a special weather statement issued by Environment Canada for heavy rainfall, 10 to 20 millimeters of rain expected in areas where thunderstorms may pop up. You might even see larger amounts. Flooding concerns, of course, in low-lying areas. The ground is quite saturated. Now, a yellow rain advisory was also issued for Tobermory around Mount Forest, up near southern Georgian Bay for tomorrow. So you might see even more intense rainfall in addition. So that is something to keep an eye out. As we take a look at our futurecast, this really helps to paint a picture. So spotty showers happening right now just north of Mount Forest. We are getting lots of rain coming through. So this is what we're talking about. We're going to see heavier bands situated closer to the north near Tobermory in Bruce Peninsula. So we're going to see a little bit more rain there. Kitchener-Waterloo, we will still see very heavy rain at times, potential for morning thunder showers, but we are going to see just consistent rain throughout most of tomorrow. So when you are out for your commutes in the morning and of course on the way home, make sure you take your time. It might be a bit messy out there. Wednesday, another storm expected to move into the region. So we are in for a lot of weather this week. Be prepared for it. You've heard it first. You know it's coming. As we look to what's happening across the country, 11 degrees on the west coast in Victoria and Vancouver, 8 for Regina and Saskatoon, just 4 degrees in Winnipeg this hour. Over in our nation's capital, 15 with a little bit of sunshine, and on the east coast in St. John's, just 1 degree for Corner Brook and Labrador City as well. So a little cooler on the east coast this hour. 20 here in Waterloo region. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but 26 still in Sarnia and Windsor. That is practically summer heat wave conditions, let alone spring. Overnight, just dipping down to 10 degrees, so we're not losing a lot in the way of temperature, well above seasonal for this time of year. And tomorrow, expecting temperatures to be quite warm again. Around 21 degrees is the expected daytime high. I'm not anticipating us seeing as much sunshine as we had this afternoon as we will tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit wetter out there. Pointing out those normals for this time of year, overnight, or rather daytime high should only just be 11 degrees, overnight low 1 degree. So we are well and truly above that. We might see temperatures dipping closer to normal a little later in the week. As we take a look at our 7-day forecast starting for Waterloo region, 19 degrees for your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 18 degrees. And I know it's a little far out, Tony, but down in Sunday, Monday, we are looking like we are getting closer to normal. So don't panic if temperatures take a bit of a drop from what we've seen over the last few days. As we get to Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions, 25 with the risk of thunderstorms for your Tuesday, showers for Wednesday and Thursday. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, as we just heard, you're seeing a lot of rain tomorrow. 15 degrees is a daytime high, rain continuing into Wednesday and Thursday. So it's going to be a wet week ahead for southwestern Ontario. Let's take a look at today's Weather Watcher picture sent in from Samuel, who captured this photo of this deer in his backyard a couple of days ago. He's titled it An Endearing Sign of Spring. Of course, I love the word play on words, rather, yeah. Tony. Trying to get the words out of my mouth.
Detailed photo, too.
Beautiful photo. So thank you for sharing with that.
And what a story, what a tale of like 2 different seasons, yes. With, you know, that -2 that we're seeing in the long range for southern Georgian Bay and the 26 we're seeing today in Windsor.
I know. It's a really, really, really wide range. And so I want everyone to, you know, don't shoot the messenger in a few days when it gets colder again. No. But that is normal for this time of year. What we're experiencing is not normal.
We still love Ash at the end of the day.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Ash. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now to the Iran war and mounting international concern over the impact of the American military blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. It took effect today, and it stretches all the way down Iran's coastline, with access into and out of Iranian ports restricted. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver now with this update.
Oil prices surged Monday above $100 a barrel as U.S. Navy ships began blocking the Strait of Hormuz, stopping all vessels from entering or exiting Iranian ports.
We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing.
Since the war began, Iran has heavily restricted access to the Strait of Hormuz, a key waterway through which 20% of traded oil normally passes. President Donald Trump says the U.S. doesn't need the strait and that his latest move in the region will get Iran back to the negotiating table after talks broke down this weekend over Iran's refusal to end its nuclear program.
Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And we agreed to a lot of things, but they didn't agree to that. And I think they will agree to it. I'm almost sure of it. In fact, I am sure of it. If they don't agree, there's no deal.
The new U.S. blockade seeks to starve Iran of an estimated $200 million a day in oil reserves, a form of economic pressure experts say could backfire. Iran has threatened to strike any vessel that it believes is violating the 2-week ceasefire.
Absolutely, we're escalating the conflict. And that is really the intent, escalation. But to what point?
Experts say the blockade likely goes against international law, and several U.S. allies, including Spain, France, Turkey, and the UK, have criticized Trump's move.
My guide from the start of this conflict has always been our national interest. That's why we stayed out of the war and why we continue to stay out of the war.
Economists say Canadians can expect to see higher inflation over the coming months, even if this fight over the strait is somehow solved within days. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, in Lebanon, cross-border fire continues between Israel and Hezbollah. The Israeli army is pushing ahead with an air and ground offensive in the southern part of the country. Israel and the U.S. have said the Israeli campaign against Hezbollah was not part of the U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal. Tehran insists it is. And Pope Leo is responding to criticism from President Trump. The pontiff has been a vocal critic of the war in Iran.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loud against war, looking to promote peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships among the states.
There's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation so they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
The first American pope stressed that he was not making a direct attack against Trump or anyone else with his general appeal for peace. He's demanded that political leaders use diplomacy and negotiations to end the war. Well, summertime is approaching, and for many students, so is the search for a job. Just ahead, a new federal program that is aiming to open up more hiring opportunities. The Ford government's introducing legislation to increase WSIB benefits for injured workers. The legislation would increase the WSIB loss of earnings benefits from 85% of a worker's take-home pay to 90%. The province says an injured worker who makes $60,000 a year would receive about $2,400 more in benefits over 1 year. Another change would see injured workers 65 or older receive benefits as long as they plan to keep working.
For too long, 65 has been a discriminatory age cap, and that changes. That changes with the introduction of this bill, because right now, we know that those benefits stop when a worker turns 65, regardless of whether they plan to keep working. But Ontario's workforce is changing, and today we know that more than 440,000 Ontarians aged 65 or older are still in the workplace. More people are working longer, contributing their skills, mentoring the next generation, and keeping our economy moving.
According to Statistics Canada, about 444,000 Ontarians aged 65 and older were still in the workforce in 2025. It can be difficult for those just entering the job market to find work, and the government says it's taking steps to help youth get their foot in the door. CTV's Kimberly Johnson has details.
This is where farm camp will be.
Saunders Farm is getting ready to host kids at their summer day camp in the coming months. And as they look for camp counselors, the boost to the Canada Summer Jobs program is welcome news.
Excited that the program is, I feel like it's back on track.
The federal government is looking to get more young Canadians into the job market by helping businesses like Saunders hire more students.
It does help us hire more students than we normally would in the summertime.
The Canada Summer Jobs program helps subsidize the wage wages of students. Last year, Saunders Farm was turned down, but this year, owner Mark Saunders says he'll be able to hire 17 students under the program.
So it really is a really great way to boost the economy, especially the rural economies that sometimes struggle in these days. But even all small businesses need a little bit of a leg up.
The Jobs Minister announcing the federal government is working to create 175,000 jobs and training opportunities for young Canadians, as youth unemployment numbers remain high at 13.8% in March.
That is deeply concerning, in fact, because prolonged unemployment as a young person can really inhibit their career trajectory, but also their earning potential.
That includes creating 100,000 Canada Summer job postings, an increase of 25,000 over last year, as well as increasing the Student Work Placement Program, which helps businesses hire post-secondary students in paid internships.
I think it's really important. You know, a lot of us, we have to pay rent, we have to pay for our education, we need to pay for groceries, and you can't really do that if you're doing unpaid work.
CTV's Kimberly Johnson with that report. Fresh ingredients, quality food, and years of experience. A pizza shop in Hespeler is blending experience and tasty toppings to create a neighborhood favorite. We find out more on this week's edition of Made Right Here.
Hi, my name is Mark with Experience Kitchen. We've recently experienced a rebranding from Pizza Experience. Our slogan is Pizza is an Experience, and we wanted people to know that we're not just a pizza place, and we're bringing new, fresh ideas and our take on a lot of old favorites. Mainly, we are primarily pizza, bringing that with our house-made dough, our own blend of sauce, spices, and making it fresh every day for all of our customers with fresh cut vegetables. Using as many Canadian products as we possibly can. We're about 98% Canadian products. Trying to shop local, be local, and support local. Giving people a variety rather than just the same old, same old. You're going to come in and grab slices. You can get a plain cheese or a plain pepperoni all the way up to our chicken Caesar or our pickle bacon ranch. And there's always something new and different. We've got some great new ones coming out with our pizza of the week and our new stuffed crust, which is either deep fried mozzarella sticks or deep fried pickle spears in the crust. And it's just a great new thing we want to bring to the community. It's a bit of a hybrid in that we do it on traditional pizza pans that are generally used in a stone oven, but done on a conveyor oven for speed and accuracy. So it gives us a chance to bring the best of both worlds in with the flavoring, but also getting it out as quickly as possible for busy families. And just having a nice fluffy inside of our pizza dough with a crunchy outside brings people back to their childhood. It's what dough originally was for a lot of kids. Very familiar with a lot of the customers. They come back for great food and even better people. The staff are a big part of our success. A lot of the new ideas come from the staff, and the best ideas come from the people who are dealing with customers day in, day out and serving the product. It's the best feeling to know that they come back and they want to feed their kids and their family our product. Know that they trust us that way to bring us into their home on a regular basis. If you want a better product at a great price made by the best people and you want to support your local small businesses like we do, come on in.
Just ahead, the changing chances of hearing that winner sound. A Waterloo numbers expert helps us break down the odds of the new Lotto Max format. Looking at some entertainment news, Britney Spears has entered rehab a month after she was arrested, suspected of driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. According to a representative, the singer voluntarily checked into a treatment facility. The 44-year-old is expected to appear in court to face the DUI charge in 3 weeks. Last month, she allegedly showed signs of impairment after being pulled over for driving erratically. One of the most iconic programs in TV history has a new home in Canada exclusively right here on CTV and Crave.
Bottom line, all of you should be thanking us. We took out a horrendous, horrible leader who was oppressing his own people. But don't get any ideas. And live from New York, it's Saturday Night!
Saturday Night Live's 52nd season will be available on CTV and Crave this fall. The show, created by and produced to this day by Canadian Lorne Michaels, has set the standard for sketch comedy over 5 decades. Well, the cost of a Lotto Max ticket has gone up, and so have the amount of numbers you can choose from. But what about your chances of winning? A Waterloo-based expert says that depends on the kind of win you're talking about. Here's CTV's Colton Weems with more.
So on my ticket at the very end there, I do in fact have a 52 in my selection, so I'm hoping that first draw is going to give us one of those new numbers.
University of Waterloo Associate Professor Michael Wallace has his new Lotto Max ticket ahead of Tuesday's draw, and there's new rules in effect that he says will impact how it all works.
In some ways your odds have got worse on that front, but OLG is trying to make it up to us by giving us an extra line or an extra play per ticket.
On Friday, the cost of a Lotto Max ticket went from $5 up to $6. Each ticket now also includes 4 lines to play on instead of 3, and players can choose a combination of 7 numbers from 52 rather than 50.
The main thing you're probably going to notice is that you do have a slightly higher chance of winning prizes. So mainly that's going to be those smaller prizes like a free play or a $20 win, but your odds of winning any prize are going to increase slightly from about 1 in 7 to, under the new rules, a little better than 1 in 6.
Wallace says those who have a subscription to the lottery may not notice much of a difference.
When we think about this as statisticians, we think about what your expected return is. On average, you're expected to get about 50% of what you spend back in prizes. So for every $100 you spend, the average player will get about $50 back.
And while Wallace believes OLG may see higher revenues from this change, for consumers, he says the game is mostly the same, but the chance of a big win is what keeps people playing.
Myself included. Even as a statistician, I know my odds are terrible, but you can't really resist thinking about that what-if scenario, what if those numbers come up.
Wallace says one of the very few strategic things lottery players can do is try to avoid choosing common numbers.
The one thing you can do, and it's not got a great chance of helping, but every little helps, is try and pick numbers that you think other people won't pick.
The next Lotto Max draw is on Tuesday night. Colton Weems, CTV News, Waterloo.
Well, there you go. And Ash, I know one thing doesn't change, though, and that is you can't win if you don't buy a ticket at all.
I think that means we should probably go in on a ticket, and hopefully it's raining a win, not just for outside, but for inside here for us, too. But it is going to be a wet one, so we'll keep you posted with what you should, prepare for in the morning. Overnight rain is expected to start falling, but tomorrow is really when it's going to land. Stay with us. I'll have more on that coming up. Start your night off with E-Talk at 7, followed by The Big Bang Theory at 7:30. Then back-to-back episodes of The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins, and cap your night off with The Quiz with Balls at 9.
Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Home of Bounce Mornings with Angie Hill and Sarge. KW's Bounce 99.5. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
Okay, wake up weather for our Tuesday. Going to be a little on the rainy side.
It's going to be a lot on the rainy side, Tony. The system is expected to start to land through the overnight hours, but by 6 a.m., very, very wet. We are at a risk for a thunderstorm in the morning, so do take that caution as well if you're out and about. Of course, if there is thunder and lightning, maybe not use the umbrellas, but have them on hand because it will be a wet one out there.
Did you add more water droplets into those graphics? It looks like a lot more than usual.
Well, it is. We are expecting a heavier rain, so I actually did pick the heavier rain graphic.
Making a statement with it. No, that's
You've been warned.
In many ways.
Yes.
Well, finally for us tonight, we introduce you to a Canadian man who decided to tackle a world record drive on 3 wheels.
CTV's Adam Sawatsky explains why.
After Seth Scott embarked on his first road trip,
I think it's like this freeing feeling of
across Canada and the U.S.,
knowing that you can drive for 10 hours.
He dreamed of doing a dynamic drive that nobody had done before.
Finding out that nobody had ever driven the length of Africa in a 3-wheeler, it really stuck with us.
So, Seth and his friend Oliver Jenks decided to drive from London to Cape Town in a 3-wheeled Reliant Robin.
They kind of become the butt of the joke all around the world for being terrible at being a car.
So they gave her a wonderful name, Sheila.
Kind of rhymed with 3-wheeler.
They also set 3 goals: break a world record, document the drive on social media, and fundraise for a charity that helps send the poorest kids in Africa to school.
And you realize how lucky you are, how difficult things can be, and how happy people can be in different circumstances.
Which is why, when countless things went wrong, like when Seth and Oliver suffered debilitating food poisoning, or Sheila's axle broke, transmission died, and engine blew up, they chose to focus on the countless things that went right.
We met some incredible people and we saw a lot of fantastic and beautiful things. There's something very special about Africa that'll forever kind of have a place in my heart.
And then, after traveling across 20 countries in 4 months, they found out they'd raised $24,000 for charity. And after driving 25,000 kilometers, discovered they broke the world record for longest journey in a 3-wheeled vehicle.
It's still hard to fathom that we actually accomplished it.
But they did. And now that Seth is back home in his 4-wheel vehicle,
It's a Kia Rondo, so we call it Ronda.
he hopes you'll be inspired to overcome every obstacle on the road to realizing your own dreams.
You don't need a $100,000 4x4 to do something. You just need to have the drive and the motivation.
And if, like Sheila, you can transform yourself from the butt of jokes into the heroine of an epic underdog story, all the better. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Saanich.
Incredible. And talk about when you're going all the way across Africa, some of the most majestic scenery in the world.
Yes.
And then those sort of holes of mud. Like, I mean, you get everything along the way, right?
It would be incredible.
Yeah.
It would be like being in a different world in many respects, considering how different the landscape, the fauna and flora here is compared to there.
Just
it's amazing.
Like, what a road trip. And, and the fact that there was a charitable element, too, is just the icing on the cake.
Very cool story.
Okay, that's our time. We'll be back here tonight at 11:30. See you then, right after the CTV National News. Good night.